little wet here.
Yeah. I'm like, I tried to blew mine out, but you know.
Yours looks super cute. Okay, let
Thank
me just
you.
get, I think we're live. So, and then can you check and see if, can you check and see? I think we're live, everyone. If you are joining us, welcome to the Table Makers Club, a special Project Eñye series just for you. So I am just going to make sure that it is on. So hang on one second. Yay. Uh, Great. Okay. I think it's working now, right? Sorry
There
about
we are.
there. I feel like sometimes I'm FYI the tech person in my house, which doesn't say a lot. Okay, it really doesn't. So every once in a while something like this happens. So thank you for your patience. Welcome everyone. I am so excited for today for our first guest, Maira. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. She is one of the gems in EDA, a New Dream Accelerator. And she is first up to showcase her incredible work this week for the Table Makers Club. So before I continue, I'm actually going to shut down my Slack. And Maida, did you hear the ding? Are you hearing that at all or no?
No, I'm not hearing that.
Okay, I'm actually going to shut it off because those are my alerts for Pau, our assistant in the Philippines. So she's trying to communicate, probably trying to tell me everything is okay. So, oh, look, you're already getting compliments. Love the painting on your wall, Maida.
Oh,
Wait,
thank
where? I
you.
don't see the painting. Where's the painting? Oh,
There's
there
a
we
couple
go.
of them.
Okay,
So I
there
have,
we go. And the pillows, that's really nice. All right, let me try not to get distracted here. So, okay, Maida is frozen now. So can you guys let me know if you guys can still see me on video? That would be awesome. All right, there we go. Maida's back. Now, all right. So what is the Table Makers Club? It's a metaphor. So as you may be familiar, a lot of people share that there's no room for us at the table, or someone needs to make room for us at the table. Well, in the Eñye Dream Accelerator, we make our own tables, okay? Because we can't wait, because the work that we want to put out in the world cannot wait. And I recognize that seems like it's harder. It seems like it's an uphill battle, and it seems like scary, fill in the blank with any negative term and feeling, right? And so yeah, at times it can feel like that, and that's why we do it together. And so when we do it together, it seems, and our experience is that we do it with ease, we do it with community, which is something as Latinos we're very, very good at. Okay, so my first guest is Maira Hernandez. She is the author of Aventura, Amor y Tacos, and her book recently won a National Book Award, Latino Book Award, which was, I just gave myself chills literally sharing that, because every time I think about it, I'm proud of her. Like I am like her sister. Like that's like the level of pride that I feel when I share her accomplishment. And so she's here to tell us about her experience writing this book, and also about the fears that came up writing the book, the inspiration, and then what her experience is like in the Eñye Dream Accelerator, being a table maker herself. So Maida, meet everybody in the Facebook group, and I know that many of you are going to already be familiar with your work. And please tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration behind making your award-winning book?
Thank you so much, Denise. And it's still hard for me to believe, but I think part of the reason I even applied, for and I submitted my work was because of being in the Eñye Dream Accelerator. So
That makes me so happy.
support, all that support really makes such a difference. And I can relate to so much of what you just shared of making our own table. That's part of the reason I wrote my book. I have my book here, and I talk about going to Mexico. I spent about 5.5 months there with my abuelos, and I remember when I watched your film, the Eñye film, how much I felt that it was parallel to my experience in Mexico, where I felt that so many people might be having the same experience of when they reconnect with family, when they reconnect with their culture and realize how beautiful it is. But there aren't movies about it. There aren't books. I wrote my book in Spanglish, so I have Spanish words sprinkled all over it because that's how I speak, with my friends and my primos and my family. And I wanted to stay authentic to our voices and to share that experience of going back and meeting, my family and really reconnecting with that. So I think that was a big part of why I wrote the book. But then also I knew I needed the support of a community. And when I saw the Eñye film and saw how parallel it was, Puerto Rican culture and the Mexican culture, we're all Latinos and have similar experiences here in the US. I felt like I needed to be a part of it because I knew that would be a support system to continue launching my book.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because I definitely want you to tell, I want all the raves, I want all the love for EDA. I really want to capture though, what it felt like before you put pen to paper. Because I feel like I've met, if I haven't met one person, I've met 100 people that tell me they have a book in them. But I'm going to say it's the smallest percentage of people that actually get started and then published it. But you then got an award. To me, you are extraordinary. Like when you look up extraordinary, this is what you are. Tell me what in the world, like what were the things that you felt held you back because you weren't in EDA when you wrote that book. You did that on your own. I want to understand the thought process of the idea to pen to paper to the journey.
Yeah, that's a great question because it wasn't easy. That is for sure. And I think for me, I was writing a lot when I was in Mexico, and I was inspired all the time and experiencing people so authentically. It almost felt like I had never experienced that before being in the US. So when I was in Mexico, I was writing a lot. But there was a fear of, can I share this? Because I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about my grandparents. I'm talking about the little rancho I come from. And I'm talking about all of my feelings, I'm a Cancer, so I'm very emotional. So I talk about all of that. And that was the scariest part for me. And I hesitated so much. I would write blogs and I had a website and I published them, but I never shared them on social media. Until
I can totally identify with that. That's hilarious.
Until I remember I wrote this piece. I was inspired by a book, American Like Me, and America Ferrera kind of like compiled all those stories. And I was inspired by a piece, and I just wrote for so long about my experience of what it felt like to go back to Mexico. And I was crying through the whole thing. I felt cathartic. And so I knew that piece, I had to share it publicly, but it took me like a month and a half. It took me so long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause you right here again. I think this is very uniquely Latino, if I do say so myself. And because this group, we have almost 5,000, I'm going to say, for the most part, Latinos or people that feel like they're born in American bodies, but are Latino on the inside, because that's actually the thing. And I asked you about the process of the book, and the first thing you bring up is this my story to tell? Right? And I think that's uniquely Latino. We're so, that collective ideology is so embedded in us. And I think it's a beautiful thing to consider, where does my story end and someone else someone else's stories begin. And I grappled with the same exact thing making the film. And so I understand that very nuanced thing. And my guess is that anyone that's watching this that has a story they want to tell, they are probably grappling with that. And underneath it all is it okay to share my true feelings, even if it might reflect negatively, maybe? Or was that like a concern that there might be a misperception?
Yeah, it was
Really?
definitely, for sure. And
Okay.
it was a concern of a misperception, because I think the way I wrote my book is very loving towards my family and the history. But there's always that, what are people going to say, el que dirán, you know, all of this, and especially in the Latino culture. And till this day, my mom says that too. When I translated my book, and when she saw that, she was like, oh, great, so-and-so got it. What are they going to tell me? You know, so it's like this whole different conversation of, what is your tia going to say? What is so-and-so going to say? And I was like, let them say what they want to say. It's a great book. It's a loving book.
That is so funny and so real. If you could identify with that, just put it in the chat that you feel that's like you're resonating. Because I mean, like literally my mom said that the other day at the end of a call. So I did tell you this, but nobody else needs to know. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Ma, like seriously, you know, like it's such a concern. And it really also is rooted in like you know, like no one wants to be misinterpreted. No one wants their actions to be perceived as anything but in the most positive light. And it can stifle creative people. Yeah, so someone had just said they can totally resonate. So, and you guys, if I'm saying somebody, it's because I can't see your name. So I'm sorry if I say somebody. I acknowledge and thank you for your comment. On the platform that I'm using, I'm not able to see your name. But anyway, it can stifle a creative person's expression, in your case being an author and having the story that you wanted to tell. And so how did you ultimately transcend it and decide, I am going to write out a book? And your book isn't a thin book. It's a substantial book. Can you show us like how thick this book is, Maira? Okay. You're frozen a little bit. I hope that Maira, can you see me? Are you there?
Denise, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. Oh, I was frozen. I thought you were frozen. So I'm here. Can you see me?
There you are. Yeah.
Okay. So were you able to hear what I had just said, or no?
I think I missed the last part of it.
Oh, okay. What I was saying is that sometimes, or a lot of times, this concern, right, can really stifle a creative person's expression. And so I want everyone to see your book again, and just let's see how thick the book is. Okay, that's the cover. Okay, you guys, this isn't a pamphlet. She wrote a legit book. Okay, at lots of pages, probably 10-point type, lots of honesty on these pages. She didn't win an award. She won an award because it's good. Okay, and my guest's very truthful and authentic based on who Maira is too as a person. Tell me how you transcended that, Maira, because that feels like a Grand Canyon level jump. What did you do? What did you tell yourself? How did you transcend it?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest part was that I talked about a blog post that it took me like a month to post, but when I did it, so many people commented on it. It's like people out of the woodwork, college friends I hadn't heard of from forever. So their relation to that piece really is what inspired me to continue writing the book, because I had all these lessons that I wanted to share. And I think they're so important because that part of our culture is really washed away through assimilation here in the US. So continually writing about that, and it was just the beautiful people I met as well, like my cousins, my grandparents, the town itself. All of that continued to inspire me because I really felt so lucky to have had experienced it. I wanted to like share it out in the world because there's so many people who are disconnected. You know, for me, before I went to Mexico, there was about an 8-year gap that I hadn't, visited. So I think I wanted to encourage others to get a glimpse of what that was, because I knew it as a kid, to reconnect with it and then really share that out. So the readers, people who were going to read it, and then also my community back in Mexico really inspired me.
And so, okay, how beautiful is that? And so my guess is that those initial comments added a little bit of fuel and then a little bit more fuel and then probably comments from people you didn't know. And at some point you reached, like, you know, on a seesaw, it goes like this and then it's like, okay, like there's a fulcrum where you're like, okay, now I believe this is bigger than me. Now I believe this is touching hearts and minds beyond my circle of friends. And there's a sense of responsibility and like some kind of newfound courage that you get. Cause I know this courage. And you just begin to believe in yourself. And then when the book came out, tell me about that. What happened when it actually came out?
Yeah. Oh man. So you're getting to all the good questions, Denise. So when I actually published my book, there was still this fear, right? It's like there's a little stages. I got the book cover and now it's official. And then I got my print copy. There's still a lot of fear because, okay, I have a book and I'm a self-published author. How do I put it even more out there so more people I don't know continue to read it? Right? So
it's scary.
Yeah. So like you said, it's like moments of courage where I would get a message from somebody who read my book and how they connected with it. And I was like, all right, now I'm inspired. Let me go reach out to a podcast. And then again, you know, it was just like a continuous cycle of people sending me a message of how they connected to it and getting reignited again. And that's what essentially has kept me going is sharing the story because what they share with me is also what continues to inspire me to keep going.
Ah, so good. And so it's funny, the funniest thing is like you do the thing, you do all the work to get self-published. This is no small feat. It's not like writing a blog post. It's like almost like the blog post is easy compared to self-publishing because there's all kinds of structural stuff like formatting the pages. Like, I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff I can only imagine, right? And then uploading it to Amazon and then promoting it. It's like all these points of fear and wanting to turn back and be like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And so I just commend you for having the guts to keep going every step of the way. And I want people to know that this is possible for them too. If you're watching this and you have a book, it's possible. Maira did it. Now, tell me, when did the book come out?
Yeah, I published it, I believe, September 2019.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So it's been a year, a little over a year.
Yeah.
And then when did you find out about the Book Awards opportunity? And walk me through your decision to do that.
Yeah, so I found out about it maybe sometime in April or May, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I submitted the application the very last day because I had heard about it a couple of days before. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it is just you always talk about what is it? Is it bold action?
Act.
Yeah,
yes.
the bold ask, you know. And so I took a bold action with that, and I just like submitted it. I was like, you know what? Here it goes. I had forgotten completely about it. Like it slipped my mind. And I was actually in Mexico when I saw the email, and I was like, what is this email? It says like congratulations, da 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 da. And I was like, what is this? I don't even know what this is until I kept reading and realized, oh, I just won a book award. So it's so amazing how things happen. It's just, you know, making the action and continuing to step into that courage.
Yes. And so it's funny. Who was the first call that you made? I want to understand, like you realized you won, then what happened?
Yeah. So first person I told, I was in Mexico at the time, so I told my grandma, and she doesn't understand. She was like, "Oh, okay," you know, like how nice. And I was like, "Oh, okay," you know, she doesn't get it. She's 86 years old. But then I texted my friends, my sisters, my family, you know, I texted everybody just with the screenshots because I couldn't believe that it was real. Yeah, so it's been such a roller coaster. And honestly, the way I described it, it felt like when I got accepted into my dream college. Like I was jumping up and down and I was like dancing at random moments of the day. And just really recognizing that.
Yes, yes. And so when you were like just basking in the sunlight of this huge accomplishment, did you have a thought like back to the girl that doubted even writing this at all? Like if you could tell her anything, what would you tell her?
Yeah, that's such a great question because I think about the girl who quit her job, was scared beyond measure, to go to Mexico. And I was very quiet at the time. Like, I remember filming videos and I didn't even put the audio on, as you know, when I shared. And now I wrote a book about that whole experience. And I would tell her, you did the right thing, continue going, right? Because it's a part of that process. And anytime I feel that way, it's the same thing, continue going. Because I think as a person, if you have that calling within you, you know exactly where you're going, even if you feel like you don't know anything, you just have to continue moving one step at a time.
Yeah, and I just got the chills again because I mean, it takes so much trust and faith in yourself, right? And it, like, what EDA is about, is really is like remembering you're trustworthy, remembering that, because you're the one that decided to quit your job. You're the one that was called to Mexico, really without knowing what lied in store. I mean, you had your experience, right? But you had no idea that the purpose of that trip was also to help ignite hearts and minds and reconnect people that feel disconnected from their culture. Like, your purpose was way bigger than what you really could have imagined at the time. And sometimes I think that happens to people that are meant to do really big things with their life, kind of outside of conventional, you know, like the draw outside the lines people, because we don't understand. I just know I want to quit my job. Like, tell me about the quitting your job. What was the story around that?
Yeah. So that was very interesting. I think for me, I always had that mindset. I got a chance to study abroad in college, and I always wanted to do that. There was just something about after I came back, it just transformed the way I explored the world. And every single job that I had was very much, oh, now I want to quit and I just want to travel. And it got to the point where I think my mental health was suffering, and I knew I wouldn't be okay if I got another job in that state of mind. So I knew I needed to take the time for myself, go, recollect. And for me, what I thought of was Mexico. It was like, one, my savings will last me there. And then two, I just remember the feeling of being around my abuelos and how just caring they were. And I recognize that I deserve to have that for a moment of time, where I could just be spoiled with their love. So that's what really sparked me. And that's what kept me going. Like, it'll be okay because I will be in loving hands, back in Mexico.
Yeah. And oh my gosh. And what a gift for them, to have you there. Like, I can't imagine, or I can only imagine how special it was for them to have you there for that extended period of time. So I just want to, note a few things that you said. You had this experience of studying abroad. And so you had this, it kind of connected with you with this thing that was kind of different than, I would say, like a more conventional life. People that do these study abroad programs really do get to taste the world in a different way. And sometimes it sparks something in them. And so if it did that for you, if you're watching this and it did that for you and you feel like, wow, I kind of want to, I'm like Maira, listen to that, because that was where she deferred to when she wasn't feeling like it was going to be good for her mental health. She began dreaming of leaving to a faraway place, but in the loving hands of her grandparents. These are important touch points to listen to, because it ended up holding her future. It ended up holding what she was able to create and then share with the world as a gift. But it's not always or often revealed to you at the beginning. I'm going to say it. It's very rarely, if at all, ever clear. But that feeling is very, the feeling is very clear. It just might not have a lot of explanation, right? And so I want to use your story, Maira, for those who are listening and watching, even on the replay, to, if you feel this thing and it makes no sense and you can't, and it doesn't add up, it's still worth listening to, because what she chose to do not only was a gift for herself, for her abuelos, and now to all of us. So we'd like to know. Oh, and then there's this awesome comment. What if all Latinx were able to stand up proud and share their gifts? Latinx would take over the world. I happen to agree because we're so creative. I know I'm biased, but this is the best place to say it. We're so creative. We're especially awesome, not just garden variety, but especially awesome. And we have so many treasures to share that would enrich each other's lives, right? And so tell us, where can we get your book? I'm going to make sure there's a link to your book, but tell us, where can we read it? Where can we buy it? How can we support you?
Yeah, thank you. So my book's available on Amazon. I have it both in English and in Spanish. So the English does have Spanish sprinkled in there, but I do have a reference for those who might not understand, in particular, the rancho words that I use here. But they're both available on Amazon.
Terrific. Awesome. So we'll make sure to put that. Now tell us, what are the future plans? What are you creating in 2021 so we can all be a fan? And also, I'm going to say, Maira has come into this group and done, I think you and Edie said he have facilitated 2 cultural conversations. What were those called? What did you guys call that?
So Edie, she's a genealogist and she focused on Latino heritage, and we called those events Raíces Conversations, where we explore what it is to reconnect with that history. So we've done that. And for 2021, we want to continue having those conversations. But another thing I'm working on with a partner of creating experiences of travel when it's safe, after COVID, to really bring people back to Mexico and have a really authentic experience. So meeting the people, like the home cooked meals, things like that, so that you can get a full authentic experience to reconnecting with that side of the culture.
Who doesn't want to go on that trip? I mean, come on. Even before we weren't allowed to go on trips, that trip, I mean, it speaks to me in so many different ways. So sign me up. I am going. And also, I'm gonna invite you and actually ask you if you will continue those raíces conversations in 2021. Would you be open to doing that here?
We definitely will. Edie and I have been talking about setting a date already, so we're on that movement. Yeah.
We'd love to have you. I kind of feel like the space is like, it's for the artists, it's for the dreamers, it's for the people that express themselves from the heart. And I want, this space and this group is really for those people to share that. And especially these conversations. I know so many of us feel so enriched by even just listening to other people talk and share about their specific experience. The only thing missing is like passing the food and drinking the stuff. So we'll have to add that somehow. I'm not sure how we'll do that.
Sure.
But so this is the first kind of installment of many conversations we're going to have this week. So I want to thank you, Maira, for being the first. And sometimes the first means it's a little clunky. And I think, coming into this, I kind of showed that, and see, we're all alive and everything is okay. Yeah. And this conversation was exactly what I had envisioned. So this is what you can expect in the Eñye Dream Accelerator, is that you will have opportunities to be visible. You will have opportunities to share what you create, and as much as I can do that, providing the project's EDA audience, I will and do. And so this is a perfect example of that. And I want everyone to know that EDA is open today for the wait list. So if you are on the wait list, you have received an email with a very special offer from me. So please open that email. And for everyone else, you will be receiving an email tomorrow. The doors will be open until Friday at midnight Pacific Standard Time. So my last question for you, Maira, is there are people watching and they're like, I really want to do EDA, but I'm scared. I'm whatever. Tell them, what was the thing that made you decide to join EDA?
The biggest was I knew that in order to make that and unity with it, would have things for people to that was the biggest thing for me.
You know what? I didn't hear that. Can someone tell me if they heard Maira well? I know there's a few people watching. It came out all garbled up, and I want to make sure that it's clear. So if anyone can, please comment and tell me. Oh, look at that. I can add people's thing Someone said, I can't wait to buy the book.
Oh, that's
that's cool. So if someone can please say, did you hear what Maira said? Because I did not, and I want to make sure that people can hear it.
Because that's how I speak, with my friends and my primos and my family. And I want to. That's cool.
All right. So I don't know if that came through. I'm kind of
not, I can always repeat it because I love EDA so much.
Yes, please repeat it just for the people in the back. Thank you, Maira. Take it away.
And the thing I said was really, Denise, it was your film, and I knew to have that authenticity in it. I knew that I had to be a part of a community. We already had it there. I knew it was going to be such an amazing community. And for anybody who's scared, I would say be scared and do it anyway, because that's how I came into EDA. I was terrified because I didn't know anybody, but I knew that it would be okay because of your message.
Oh, thank you. And then also to, believe it or not, Maira, this is so funny. Some women feel like, oh, I have to have already done this, or I need something else. I need to be at some level of readiness that's different than where they're at. What do you tell them? What do you tell women that are like, well, I have to do this before I join? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would tell them that part of the joining is the action, right? So like, if you join, then I think you would have continued action. There's always that imposter syndrome that happens, but I feel like, especially in the Latino community and a EDA full of Latinas, we support anything that you have your mind, set on, so that imposter syndrome really disintegrates. So just come join EDA. It's such an amazing, supportive group.
That's awesome. I love disintegrating imposter syndrome. I'm going to use it, and I will credit you for that. So thank you so much, Maira. Appreciate your time. And I will see you in the EDA, and we will add your book to the links here. You will see more of Maira coming in 2021 with her Raíces conversations. And just wishing you always, of course, all the luck and best wishes for mega success with your book and with your trips and everything else that your heart desires. Mwah. Thank you so much,
Denise.
Take care. All right. Love you too. Bye-bye.